Hello, and welcome back. To those of you who are new, we're so glad you found your way here. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to tell you a story that might start with a chill, but ends with a warmth that will settle deep in your soul. So find a comfortable position, pull the covers up close, and let your mind drift. You are safe here. This story isn't meant to frighten you awake, but to show you that even in the dark, there is love. The story is called The Tenant of Blackwood Manor. Alara had always been told to stay away from Blackwood Manor. The old Victorian house on the hill was a skeleton of its former self, all gabled roofs and boarded-up eyes for windows. The town stories were always the same: lights flickering in rooms that had no power, the sound of footsteps in the dust-covered hallways, and a feeling of being watched from the shadows. Alara, a librarian and a pragmatist, didn't believe in ghosts. She believed in dry rot and overactive imaginations. So when she inherited the manor from a distant relative she'd never met, she saw not a haunted house, but a project. She moved in on a blustery autumn day, the key cold and heavy in her hand. The first few nights were unsettling. It was the small things. A book she'd left on a table would be on a different shelf the next morning. The scent of old paper and bergamot would appear in a room she hadn't entered all day. And the cold. There was always a cold spot in the main hallway, a pocket of air that felt like a winter's breath. One night, she was woken by a sound, not a frightening sound, but a beautiful, melancholic melody. A piano being played somewhere deep within the house. She followed the music, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs, her flashlight beam cutting a shaky path through the dark. The music led her to the grand ballroom, a room she had kept locked. The doors were open, and in the moonlight streaming through the grimy windows, she saw him. A man, translucent and shimmering, seated at a grand piano that was covered in a thick layer of dust. His fingers, though barely solid, moved over the keys, producing the most heartbreakingly beautiful music she had ever heard. He looked up, and his eyes met hers. They weren't menacing. They were filled with a deep, profound sadness. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice like the rustle of leaves. "I didn't mean to wake you. The silence just gets so loud." This was Leo. He had been the composer and heir to Blackwood Manor a century ago. He wasn't a malevolent spirit, but a soul trapped by a promise unkept, a song left unfinished. This is the twist of truth. The real haunting wasn't about violence or anger. It was about loneliness. The profound, echoing loneliness of a story left untold, a connection never made. And as the nights turned into weeks, Alara's fear melted away, replaced by a curious friendship. She would talk to him about her day, about the modern world that baffled him. He, in turn, would play his compositions for her. He showed her his life not through scares, but through music and memories. He was an archive of a lost time, a gentle soul suspended in a moment of grief. One evening, she found a stack of his sheet music, the ink faded. The final piece, his magnum opus, was simply titled For Alara. It was dated just before his death a century ago. Her name. He had written it for her. A woman from his own time with the same name whom he had lost. The connection they shared across time wasn't a coincidence. It was a thread of love so strong it refused to be severed by something as trivial as death. His unfinished business wasn't vengeance. It was the need to finally share his heart's song with the one it was meant for. The night she sat beside him on the piano bench, her living, warm hand hovering just above his cool, ethereal one, and listened to him play the completed for Alara, something shifted. The cold spot in the hallway vanished. The air in the manor felt warm, light, for the first time. He finished the last note, and a sense of peace settled over the house. He looked at her, his form beginning to glow, becoming one with the moonlight. "Thank you," he whispered, "for hearing me." And he was gone. Not with a bang, but with the final, contented sigh. The manor was no longer haunted. It was finally at peace. And so was Alara. For she had learned that the most powerful force in any universe, one that can bridge life and death itself, is not fear, but love. So as you drift tonight, remember this truth. The stories we fear are often just stories of love waiting to be understood. Let that truth wrap around you now, like the softest blanket. You are safe. You are loved. You are protected. Your mind is quieting now. Your thoughts are slowing down, becoming soft and gentle. Feel the weight of your body sinking into your bed, supported completely. With every breath in, you breathe in peace, and with every breath out, you release any lingering tension. Your eyelids are heavy, so comfortably heavy, and you are drifting down into a deep and restorative sleep, where every dream is peaceful and every shadow holds a secret warmth. Good night. Sleep deeply.